Hey, we're gonna hit you with the bars real quick. Hey, quarantine life, but my flow still sick. If I had a maid, I have a make you lemonade. And I don't need to get laid, so don't be afraid. Girl, I get paid, but I'm in pain. Kinda like Wayne, first name Bruce. Where the hell's that made with the goddamn juice? Every day's the same, deja vu. Bring in the wine, yeah, bring in the Zans. Pump up my songs, yeah, let's do a dance. You the kind of girl that made me cancel my plans. You the only girl that let her pay for OnlyFans. Driving. Yo, yo, yo. I'm back with another guest. Today we're doing an episode with Brane Damage. That's spelled B-R-A-N-E Damage. D-A-M-A-G-E. Never met him, and my cat is making noise as usual. It's just a reoccurring thing on this episode. I don't know what he needs. He's got his food. We're just gonna ignore him. There's no animal abuse going on here. He's just acting up because I'm talking. That's what it is. So we're gonna give him a call, and we're just gonna act like Benny is a good boy. All right. Shut up. I hope this works. I hope this is.
Yo.
What's up, man? Thanks for coming on the show.
All good. Thanks for having me.
Hold on. I'm gonna set my phone up here real quick. Give me a test. Give me a test 1 2 or something.
Testing 1 2.
Oh, beautiful. All right, cool. We're good. All right, man. We're live, and well, by live I mean I'm recording, and it'll go up. And if you accidentally slip up and maybe you talk shit about a comic you don't like or something, and you want to avoid drama, I can definitely edit that out for you. Nothing. Well, I guess it can be used against you if I don't know. Well, how are you doing, man? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. No worries. I don't have any beef with any comedians or anything like that, so hopefully there will be no editing here. Or at least not any editing that I'll be like, yeah, can you please take that out?
Yeah. I got it. Just make sure you write the timestamp, because I'm not doing that. And we'll get it in. So I'll start with the standard questions. How long have you been doing comedy for?
So I've been doing comedy for about a little over a year. I think I started August of last year. So what is that? Oh shit! Now we're in November.
August of last year. It's like a year and some change.
That's a year and a quarter, huh?
Yeah, like a year and 2 months.
So
Okay.
I don't know how this works, because so the first time I ever did comedy, I went to the Alameda Comedy Club and did their open mic.
Yeah,
and it was like December of 2021, and then I never went and did it again until August of 2022.
What made
so
you?
I'm like, yeah,
what made you never want to do it
doing
again?
it for a year. I just was like, I kind of was being, I guess, lazy, scared still. I remember that it was like that Omicron or something. Like, do you remember when COVID had like Omicron, some shit like that, virus or the strain or some shit? And it was like, and I got scared, and I was like, I ain't going back out. And I'm not I'm from Hawaii, so I like warmth, and so like when it's cold, I'm like not really trying to be outside anyways. But I didn't end up going back and try open mics and then actually going out and like doing comedy until August. So I'm like, yeah, I have a little over a year experience, but technically the first time I ever did it was a different date than I'm putting as like my comedy anniversary, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I get you. Well, how did your first set go? Did you feel like it went well or not well? Because I feel like if you got scared to go again or something, maybe it possibly didn't go so well.
It was actually cool. The cool thing about it was that my daughter, who I just literally was on the phone with when you called, she lives in Denver, Colorado, and she actually came to visit for like 2 weeks at that time, and so it just so happened to work out randomly that she landed like 2 days before that thing. So my daughter and my wife went. And I mean, I didn't get hysterical laughs, but it wasn't like I just bombed the whole time. But it just was more of like, oh, okay, I got that out of my way. It's a bucket list thing. I wasn't really kind of going. And honestly, I didn't even do jokes. I didn't do a set. I just went up there and told the story of my first fight. I got through a couple punchlines in there, added a little, threw it on a little thick, or try to make something a little more funny than it really was in real life. But I pretty much just, total life experience. And then, but from that, I still had a lot of anxiety about like going and like walking into an open mic and not knowing anybody and trying to figure out who I got to find to sign up. And then like, how does the sign up work? And then like, and again, I didn't really have any jokes. I just only had that story. And then, when I started trying it again, I kind of basically just do really tell stories about my life, but try to turn them into something more funny, right?
Right. Well, now that it's been like a year and some change, do you feel like you aren't as nervous as often?
Oh yeah, definitely. I still feel the nerves and the jitters like right before you go up. Like everybody, well, maybe not everybody, but most people are gonna. Let
me ask you this: what's something in regular life that you think other people can relate to that gives the same feeling of anxiety that doing like an open mic or doing stand-up comedy? Like, what's the equivalent of that for you, at least in your life?
Yeah, I would have to think on that for a minute. I guess a lot of times, like, I don't know. I feel like I want to say, like, if you're ever like at work and then your boss is gonna come in, like, we're gonna chat on you today and supervise you, and you're like, oh, those people are watching. Like, I do this naturally. I have no problem. Like, I know I can do my job, but then like when they're watching, that's when stuff goes wrong and kind of stuff like that. I guess I'd kind of related to that, but even though it's a completely different environment, or maybe if you got to go up in public speech type of thing, but even that's like something that not everybody has to go through in life, right?
Yeah, but I feel like it's more common to do public speaking in school and stuff like that. Like, maybe you could get lucky and work around it, just like some people work around never doing fucking chemistry in their life. But like, I mean, like, stand-up comedy seems like more of a voluntary thing. Like, I can't imagine it's like, well, you're gonna have to do this, and it's unless you're taking like a stand-up fucking class or something. But
how about what if I asked you the same question, and then from your analogy, I'm gonna try to get a thought process from it and see.
I was thinking, I don't know, I just came up with this right now. Like, I was thinking, I think I get that kind of anxiety when it comes to meeting somebody for the first time, but on such a smaller scale. Because, like, if you do comedy, and if it's, like, really to a bunch of strangers, people who don't know you, it's a bunch of people. So it's, like, that anxiety of meeting somebody, but it's, like, meeting a big group of people, and it's very magnified. I kind of felt it today. I went somewhere and I seen somebody who I'd never met before, and I felt tight. I felt like I can't really act myself because I'm not really sure yet on what this person can like tolerate or what they think, And so I was just kind of like having a it helped that there was somebody who I knew there to like talk to, and then they could just kind of like, if they laugh or something at what I say, I could gauge like, okay, I'm not annoying, or I'm not fucking scary or whatever. And so I guess like with comedy, it's kind of like, man, you really don't like, I have anxiety because I feel like the anxiety, it could come or go, at least lately with me, with my small experience, if that first joke hits or not. So like if that, like I'm just anxious over that first joke, because if the first joke lands, then I feel like a boost of confidence of like, okay, I've got him. But if it doesn't land, it's like, oh shit, the pressure's on. But it could vary, you know. There could be times where it's weird. I don't know if it has things to do with like diet and things like that. I just think about anxiety. Like I'm doing this might kind of change gears a little bit. But like, are you familiar with something called No Nut November?
A little bit. I've heard of it.
Yeah. So like I participate sometimes. I think last year I didn't, and right now I did. I'm doing it, and it's like what, the 6th? So it's, you know, it's not that big of a deal. See, I guess to some people it's like, so, you know, I think the longest I went, I'll say this, I've never went the whole month. And the longest I went was like, I think 2 years ago. I did half the month. I did 15 days. And sometimes I just think it's like a mental battle. But what was I saying? Oh, I think I was like Googling about like the benefits, like just trying to like hype myself up, like just do it, because I feel like when I get to around day 6 or day 8, I kind of like psych myself out, and I kind of think, man, it ain't doing nothing. Just fucking, you know, have sex or jack off, whatever. Like just, you're just, why are you doing this? It's just like, why? And so I was like trying to like look up benefits, and one of the benefits was like less anxiety. And I don't know. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, I haven't done comedy. Did I do comedy? I don't think oh no, I hit an open mic earlier, but have you ever hit 4 Bells in Berkeley?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I hit that one a few times.
I hit that one last week, and it was my first time going there. And I didn't feel nervous at all. But that's only like what, day 3 and day 3 and No Nut November. I remember I mentioned that actually. I was like, it's been hard, and that joke didn't land.
Unintended.
I don't know. Just talking about anxiety. I think like that's a big part of sometimes why I do it, is just to like get over it. And it's weird, like people say things about like, oh man, like I could never do that. It's just like, it's weird how people's brains are wired. Like I'd probably have way more anxiety going skydiving, you know? People do shit like skydiving for fun, and it's just like, why? Like what's so fun about risking your life like that? You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know.
I think for me, I look at it as I respect the savagery, because like you said, people said I couldn't do it. I'm definitely like, yeah, I couldn't do it. But I would never say why you were doing it or someone else was doing it, but like how you were like, oh, what are the benefits? Like, why am I even doing this? For me, it was more of just the discipline and being able to like fight your urges and say, nah, I'm committed to actually not giving in to myself and my urges and whatnot, and I'm gonna just handle this business. Like that's what, for me, from the outside looking in, is what I respect about someone trying to pull something like that off, or doing like I'm not a religious person, but I know there's a bunch of different religions, like you know, or Muslims got to go through Ramadan, and like
yep,
the Catholics go through that Lent or whatever, but they got to give something up, and you know, I'm sure there's a lot of sacrifices and whatnot.
Jews give up tipping.
I've always respect about it is like the discipline to commit to it and be like, nah, I'm fucking pulling through this. Like you said, the longest you went was 15 days. That's still way longer than anybody not committing to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You were gonna say Jews did what? What did they do?
Oh, the Jews, they gave up tipping. So you're like bringing up hella religions and shit.
Nice.
Shit. You know, that's something that I feel like is kind of like reverse. Like it kind of turns into, okay, I gotta do this. This is a bucket list. Like I gotta do stand up. Like that's like kind of the biggest deal. But sometimes it could just turn into like, damn, I gotta do more of this. And you get all up in your head about like, maybe if I'm like really good, I'll get booked on shows, or maybe, you know, you never know how far this can take you. And sometimes I feel like just going to do mainly an open mic. I try to, like, if somebody books me for a show, if anybody's listening to this, I try to be punctual. I think I've only pulled out of one show due to circumstances, but like when it comes to like open mics, which is like hitting the gym or whatever, or just like hanging out, networking, it turns into like the discipline of not going, because I value my time. I'm a fucking adult. You mentioned you have a daughter. I don't know. You know, you got a wife. You got family and shit. It's like you gotta put shit to the side to go out and like do what? Like work on these fucking 3 minutes that you already know down. Like I'm all for like getting better and all that, but sometimes you just kind of have to like ask yourself like, well, what am I really gaining out of this? You know? And it's just like, I don't know, maybe I'm a fucking white belt or whatever, and I'm just thinking about like the basics and like thinking I'm ahead of myself. I'm like in karate class and they're trying to teach you just like a quick 1-2, but I'm like, I want to do spinning heel kicks or some shit, I guess. Right. So what the fuck do I know, huh?
Let me spar with that blue belt over there. No, you don't want that.
Yeah. Are you into the martial arts?
Yeah, I haven't trained for a while, but I definitely grew up. My pops used to train me kung fu. He passed when I was a teenager, but then I've trained on and off a couple different disciplines, jiu-jitsu and judo, but nothing where I've belted other. Like I'm a white belt in everything, pretty much. A lot of different stuff, and then like I'm into martial arts and combat sports and stuff like that.
Thank you for your service. I mean, you know, you gotta think about it. Fucking Khabib's a white belt in jiu-jitsu. Sometimes you gotta think like, I mean, for the most part, yeah, if somebody's a black belt, they're probably really good, unless it's like a McDojo kind of situation where they hand out black belts to 12-year-olds. Right. But it's like, even, bro, like, to be real, even if there were a couple of like, I think there's a good handful, like I think a good percentage, let's say, of like kids who have black belts. I feel like it's still beneficial to them in their life, most likely. I think if you're like, it's kind of like having a fucking eagle. It's like being an Eagle Scout or some shit, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, it probably gives you some kind of life lessons, depending on the school. But I guess it's kind of looked down upon if it's a school of bullshit. If I were to run a martial arts school, I wouldn't be about the money, man. I wouldn't have 15 fucking colored belts. Depending on, like, I would, I don't know, man. I mean, if it makes money, sure, but I would really care about like the craft and what I'm instilling in people, the community and children and stuff like that. And I don't know. It's hard though. You do need money. You do need money out here in California. So
that's
it's just
pretty much the predominant reason why I don't train anymore. Is the memberships be costing $200 a month.
I got You know how many guns you can buy with that money? You know, fuck off with your fucking chokes, dude. You know.
Yep, and it is crazy because you know, back in my day growing up, that's what martial arts was about, the discipline and just, you know, that I can defend myself in it. But I you know, there's always those things like,
real quick,
buddy, I don't want
to. Sorry to cut you off. It's just kind of important. I don't know if like your hand. I just don't want this to happen in the future anymore, because I think your hand's like covering your mic or something every now and then, so you like completely mute yourself for a little bit sometimes.
Oh, my bad.
It's all good. But yeah, mindset. You're talking about that, or just like really the discipline and teaching that.
Yeah, that's just being able to
like
I don't know, like you said, like the self-confidence of like I don't have to be fearful of wherever I'm going.
I'll break this board. You know what I mean? I ain't no bitch. Sometimes you need that, man. Some people don't know their strength. You know, they're too afraid to hit that board. You gotta hype somebody up with that. And that's kind of how it is for like doing comedy. I feel people lack that self-confidence or whatever, anxiety, they let the, they don't go through the board. they cower away, and then maybe they'll go their whole life thinking about, like, but you never know, there could be somebody out there right now who could have a fucking Netflix special or something, and they're just sitting here letting anxiety get to them from doing a fucking show. And so it's like, and then what, you're just gonna go your whole life without thinking, like, what if, it's like,
Right.
you could get over that hurdle right now and be working and trying to, there's a bunch of fucking dorks out there right now that, like, the problem is they got the confidence, but sometimes it's just like, either they're fucking annoying or they're fucking just not funny or something. They're just wasting everybody's goddamn time. And you're letting these people? How are you gonna have fucking anxiety when old fucking, I don't want to just name a random name and somebody fucking gets a so and so is doing everything, and you're letting that, you think that's better than you? So I think sometimes it's just, I think Joe Rogan or some shit said it before. It's like, you show up to an open mic, you realize, like, oh wow, there's a lot of people that just aren't funny, and it makes you feel more confident that you can do it,
Right. Definitely. And just like you said, with that anxiety, like, what if? I think that's what held me back the first time I went and did it. And was like, cool, I did it, but do I really want to do this? And like that. And earlier you mentioned too, when you were talking about comparing comedy to real life and like going to meet someone new and how it felt better if you had someone you knew there.
Yeah,
like, that's how it was too. I was like always trying to get somebody that I knew. Let's go to this open mic. Let's go to this open mic. And people would, yeah, sure, I'm down now.
Oh yeah,
I ain't got time.
flakes. We call them flakes,
and then
bro.
finally, I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna go to this fucking open mic and try it out. And then, like you said, you see certain people working on material, or the jokes ain't set up right, or somebody's new, or they just don't care. I was seeing one dude just doing dad jokes the whole time, terrible ones too. Like,
I'm a sucker for those too. Those get me easy.
Like, it's just, all right, cool, let me try it then. And then I started to realize, as the more I went out and got comfortable, I was like, oh, this is helping my mental health, because I'm just out here talking shit, having fun, and don't really care, but I'm getting shit off my chest that I ain't got to hold in. And then now it's like, oh, I don't, not that I don't care if people laugh or not, but I'm more up there just to, like, I recently did one of those. Have you seen Mr. Weed? He puts up those joke workshops that he does.
Mr. Who?
Mr. Weed.
I think I did see that, where he was talking about, like, the Frankenstein, like, don't Frankenstein your jokes.
Yeah. So, like, the first one that he did a few weeks ago had Tony Sparks, and Tony Sparks was like, that was the first time I got to meet Tony Sparks. I've met him a few times since.
Man, everybody's talking about this Tony Sparks guy, man. I was just on another podcast, and, like, these people don't really do comedy like that, but they talking about him. And I think the first comedian I ever, first real comedian who I've had on this podcast, I think he mentioned him, and it just keeps coming up, and I'm like, I guess he kind of, like, roasts you, but he, like, roasts you with constructive criticism. And, like, that's, everybody kind of has, like, their lesson that they learn from him. And I'm so curious as to what his fucking constructive criticism about me is going to be.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't even know that about him. I'm like, hold on, maybe he doesn't like me as much as he says he does.
Did he say anything about you?
Now. Oh. No. He didn't.
Then maybe you're perfect.
Good job both times. So.
Maybe you're perfect.
No, nobody's perfect. But to that point, in that session that we did, it was supposed to be joke workshop, but then it just ended up being like a mentor session with him that day, and which I enjoyed better, honestly, because I don't care about, like, maybe I'll make one joke better, who knows, but I got a lot more game from him in that 1 hour than I ever would. Hey, can you help me write a tag for this joke or whatever?
Right.
But he was like I forget how he put it. I think he said maybe selfish or something, but, like, basically, and I was like, that's kind of how I look at it. Like, it's for my mental health, not, if I go to this open mic and bomb, I don't care. It's for me to make sure I end the day on a good note rather than, I might have had a bad day at work and whatever. And I don't know, I just felt like that kind of validated it for me. But now I'm definitely curious. I'm like, shit, maybe you meet me this Wednesday. We go up there to his open mic and be like, roast us. Nah. But, yeah, I guess he's got an open mic on Wednesdays at the Ave Bar in Ocean in San Francisco. I've only been the one time that I met him, and then I seen him at the Copper Spoon on Halloween. He hosted and gave me a guest spot that I had no idea. He was like, "You're up next." I'm like, "I was just here for support." He's like, "You don't want to go?" I said, No, I want to go."
That's nice. That's nice.
So,
what are your goals? What do you got? You got a 5-year plan, or you just kind of doing it for like your mental health, like you said, hobbies or whatever?
Just mental health and just I've always been a big fan of humor and laughter and comedy in general. And me and my wife were big time stand-up comedy fans. We always go to a lot of shows and whatnot. And then honestly, it was the pandemic. When the pandemic hit and then those Zoom shows started coming out and you could just sit at home and just watch like Zoom comedy shows, and through that I became friends with a couple comedians. It all started because there was one dude. I'm an educator. He's an educator. I was like, dude, didn't we work at a school before?
Oh, wow.
And then through that, it was just like, oh, this is how you try to go to an open mic. So it was a couple comedians that was like, oh, these are the steps you take. And I didn't know shit about none of that. And so I just looked at it as like, I just want to go have fun, meet funny people, have comic friends. And then, and so I really don't have any goals. And like, I definitely do not want to become famous, not let alone, but I mean, obviously, if something like that came, I'm not going to be like, I don't want to be rich. Of course, fucking want money. I'm broke as fuck, you know what I mean? Like I said, I work in education, so I'm not balling over here, but yeah, I don't have any goals. But like now that, like I've been doing comedy for a while, and the difference between when you're on an actual show to when you're at an open mic is like, it's like times 1,000 more fun to be on a show. So it's like, yeah, I definitely want to get booked more often. But I also got to get a little better. But it's just, yeah, I don't really have.
I think that's a good way to
any
put it.
Specific goals, I guess.
That's good. I think that's not not having goals, but in a good way. I think it shows that you've got like your mental health in check. At least I feel like I don't know. I don't think it's good for your mental health to put pressure, and it's rare to get an answer like that from somebody in this community or who does this kind of art. Anybody in the arts that seems, you also seem kind of credentialed. I never seen you, but you're in the scene, and you're. I feel like you're doing it how it's supposed to be, And it's like if you're good, you're good. You get put up, you get put up. Like. That's what kind of takes politics away from shit. But I guess that's where things get complicated because it's like subjective, and it's who's to judge if somebody's good or not. It's just at the end of the day, it's really it's not even about us, like as all comics, bookers, everybody who makes it what it is. It's about. They have a say in it because I feel like if you're gonna trust what's funny, you're gonna trust like these people. You should take a recommendation from certain comics, I believe. Like if a comic finds another comic funny, then they're probably somebody to look out for. But besides that, it's really all about what the people, just the fucking civilians, like. And if people just didn't have so many fucking goals about, I'm trying to get on Netflix, I'm trying to follow me, do this, like, man, the people will fucking come to you when they want it to, Like, what's the point of, like, tooth and clawing your way to the top? Like, do you like doing comedy or whatever your art is? Like, whatever it is in life, do you like doing something, or do you like just, like, the process? Do you like when you get somewhere? You know what I mean? Do you not like the process?
I think that's pretty, like liking it versus loving it and having a passion, right?
Yeah, but I feel like having a passion can sometimes be somebody's downfall. Maybe I sound like a fucking hater, but it just
No, it's a different perspective.
and I'm not in a position to like. I guess I wouldn't be somebody who you would want to like. I used to kind of run a small show, like if you're really that desperate. Because there's another podcast I listen to, Jared Camacho's podcast, and he talks about like people having drama over like, bro, it's literally $20 that you're gonna get paid for at a bar or some shit, and you're over here, like people are just, I don't know, man. It's like I could see it. I feel like maybe because I've been doing it around just as long as you have. And I feel like maybe early I was a little eager of like, ooh, I would love to get on this show. Like and I've seen this guy before. Let me hit him up. But now it's kind of gone away. And I just kind of think to myself like, well, if you just stick around long enough, maybe eventually you'll get asked to something. I'd rather get asked to go to something than ask and just kind of like force my way into something,
Yeah, I agree. I definitely... I'm just like taking the approach of like, if somebody wants to book me, they'll approach me. I haven't really reached out to anyone and was like, hey, can I do your show? Although I'm hearing from comedians that's kind of sometimes like you don't want to overdo it, but gotta advocate for yourself.
I've done it
too.
I don't want it to seem like I'm saying I'm completely better than it, and I've definitely done it.
and for me, what I'm struggling with right now is that like a couple months ago, my wife got me one of those tripods so I can record them now, right?
Okay.
And so I record my sets. Usually I'm just recording it so that I can hear it, listen to where I can try to get better ad tags, yada, yada, yada. And then I get to like screenshot a picture of myself or whatever. But I haven't really gotten that recording that I'm like, oh yeah, this is what I want to send to people.
Like this is my tape.
Yeah, and there's been like 5 or 6 times where I either didn't bring the tripod or like my phone is like running out of space, and so sometimes it'll stop the recording.
It's the worst. That's happened on my podcast a couple of times.
The Copper Spoon on Monday on Halloween, like I didn't know I was going up, and I went up and like did really good, and I'm like, oh, that would have been a good clip to have. And the first show I ever did, I didn't even have, or like the first few shows I ever did, I didn't even have recording set up at the time, and like did really well. But like now the recordings that I do have are like at open mics where comedians don't really laugh and you don't have an audience, and and so I'm like, I also don't have that clip to where I can be like, hey, can you please book me? It's just clips of me at open mics with a couple of people going
You're right.
So I also feel that, although I do still feel that awkwardness, like if I did have a clip, I'm like, am I being pushy or being, like if somebody, I don't know, I still have this weird, I guess, anxiety of acceptance. Like, well, if they're not reaching out to me, then they're not ready to book me anyways, but I don't really know if that's the case or not.
There's just 500 other fucking people that are hitting that booker up, and you just like, and it's just, I don't know if unfortunate's the right word, because it's like, I mean, I've thought of it, or some people are like, if you're complaining about shows or something, or you don't like something, go start your own show, I always at least try to get the audio like what you do. Like I'll just use the voice memos. Takes up less space. It's less. I do kind of have that in my head a little bit. Every time I see a motherfucker with a tripod, I always think like, oh, look who cares. Look who's like it takes away. But hold on, you're kind of muffled.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, like what was it? I'm just trying to look at it objectively, like even take myself away from it and just try to think to myself, like if I'm at even like a regular show that I paid tickets for, like it's just, maybe it's the wrong way of looking at it now that I'm saying this out loud, but it's like, I just feel like if I were to go to like a showcase, like let's pretend I went to a showcase somewhere at an actual comedy club and I see the comic I'm about to see go do 20 minutes, like set his tripod up it just takes away the essence of like, damn, dude, this guy is so not funny that nobody's putting a tripod up for him. You know what I mean? Like that's how white belt we are right now. So I don't know.
Yeah, I see that point too, and like especially when I first got the tripod, it was like that same, like, I don't know, I'm a stoner, so like I remember back to like when I first used to start getting high and shit, and that feeling of like, oh no, everybody's watching you, they all know you're high. Like pulling out that tripod and like, oh, people are probably looking at me right now like, this fucking idiot. Has he heard his jokes? Who wants to record his own? Yeah, like.
And you already have the anxiety of, being up there or something, and it's just like
you're like judging the shit out of yourself on what you think everybody else is judging you, and they don't give a fuck. They're going over their notes. They're not looking at you.
It's like it's like pulling up to school with a lunchbox, and no other kid has a lunchbox, and they're all just looking at you like a fucking dork. Like, look at this fucking bitch with a lunchbox, dude.
Dude, that was totally me all Halloween weekend. Like I hit a mic Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and all three of them were like, we're having a costume contest, and I was like the only fucking idiot dressed. Well, actually, Halloween at the Copper Spoon, I guess a bunch of the comedians like threw on their costume, went up, and then like took it off. So I didn't think anybody else was dressed up.
What'd you dress up as?
But me, I dressed that day. I dressed up as a Rasta man, and Sunday I was a dragon, and Saturday I was Bob Ross.
Where do you get all these fucking costumes from?
Yeah, I'm a big ass kid and I love Halloween, so I just had it's not like I bought costumes. I just had these from over the years.
Oh man, I like Halloween, but I've always had horrible Halloweens with like costumes and shit. Like,
right.
I was a fucking grasshopper from Bug's Life for like 6 years straight.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never had good costumes, but I've always loved Halloween and just fucking trying to push shit together. This Rasta Man one, the thing I loved about this one is because I've always been into reggae, so I've always had like Rasta colored clothes and accessories and shit like that. So basically, I just have the those hats that you put on with the dreads.
Yeah.
And then with my wife, I had a mini bat. I have a mini bat that's a Giants mini bat, but it's a red. And so my wife like put some kind of she like wrapped it in like a paper towel, and so it looks like this giant joint that I get to carry with me and puff on as the Rasta Man. So that's one of my favorites, just because I get to hold that giant joint, and I'm also like, I have a little bat with me that nobody knows if they try something, I'm gonna crack them with it. I think this joint is just a joint, huh? Try it, buddy.
That reminds me of this Bob Marley joke that I had, but I don't really do it anymore. I did it for a very short period of time. I think I stopped it because one, I think it was really offensive. Like, it worked for the most part, but I think it's just offensive. And then two, I think it kind of might be hack, if that makes sense. It kind of just seems like, I don't know. I feel like it's been came up with before. It's just super obvious, like low hanging fruit. So that's why I kind of stopped it, because like, it's not me. It's just me saying something rude. But I agree with this idea. So the joke is just basically like, you guys into conspiracy theories? Yeah, my favorite conspiracy theory is Every Little Thing Is Gonna Be Alright by Bob Marley. And it was like, you think Bob Marley, like, you think he said that when he was like denying the cancer medicine? Because isn't that like how he died? He fucking
even more conspiracies than that. No.
What do you think of that? Does that sound kind of like you've heard it before?
No, I don't think I have. I mean, I'm sure that, there's so many comedians, so many jokes out there. I'm sure somebody said something like that, but I haven't personally heard that. But, I mean, I get the point, and but I can see why you're like, it's a little bit like not everybody's it's not going to be everybody's flavor if they're a Bob Marley fan, or if they're, recently had somebody that died from cancer.
Yeah, it's kind of rude, but I guess it's just
one of those.
Yeah, it's kind of rude. I don't know.
I feel like I've been pretty rude in my life, and I'm trying to work on that. And I think stand-up comedy is working on that because it comes from I'd want to be more funny than I am rude, and yeah, I think it helps. I think it helps a little bit. I feel like I have more of a sense of like, because you'll get some comics that are like they want to be dark, they want to be edgy, and they'll just kind of like the shit they say is just way more fucked up than it really is funny, and I feel like I learned kind of quick before it got too bad that like, oh, you gotta like you say something fucked up, that's like a risk, and the risk better be worth it or whatever. I don't know. Some people, I've just not just. When I say things like this, I'm not even trying to like single anybody out. It's just a collectiveness of like it could have been a one-time open micer. I seen somebody like they're not even really in the scene or whatever. They're just some guy that went up and I heard some outrageous shit, and that was the end of that. But it's still forever burned in my fucking head.
Right.
I don't know.
And that.
And that's it, man. I guess it's like a community thing. I don't know how like religious you are or something, but I feel like
I'm not religious. I mean, I grew up somewhat religious, but I left that a long time ago.
Do you I don't know, I was just talking to a buddy of mine. He's in AA. He's in like a program. He's just like I don't know, he's all right, but I guess he's like identifies as an alcoholic. And I'd never been an alcoholic. I've never been to AA. Hopefully I never do. And I just feel like maybe something like comedy could be like that in a sense for me. Like I feel like I'm missing some kind of community, like church or something. I'm not really a religious person. So I feel like doing comedy sometimes is like the closest thing I have to it. When it comes to like, you know, sometimes you're like, oh, I don't want to go to church, but it's probably good for you, you know? It's kind of like the same thing with like hitting an open mic. It's like, man, really not in the mood. Like I'd rather sit home and fucking jack off or something. But maybe it's like, oh, this is probably beneficial to me or something if I just go out and most times I drive home happy or like oh, that was good for me.
Nice.
So, and then I don't. There's only really been one night where I was like, man, what the fuck am I doing? And that's when I got fucking bipped in Oakland. Somebody smashed my window. And I was like, really, like, I don't think I'm going to do this no more. This is like, but besides that, even if I bomb or something, I still come back. Like, it's nice to just kind of see other comics. And even if those other comics that I know are funny, if they bomb too, that makes me feel better. Like, it's just a night. It's just a night of just, you know, it's not. Well, maybe I guess it still kind of is us, but it's like, hey, we all suck together, so this shit ain't easy, and I'll still come home with like a positive attitude. I don't know.
Yeah, I like that you made the analogy of like a religious or a community of like the AA, and like it is our community, and it was crazy because those first few months of me going, in my experience was. I was walking in and everybody knew each other, and I was like that awkward dude in the corner, not talking to nobody, and like I'm not really an outgoing personality where like I just can walk up and introduce myself to people out of nowhere, just you know, just randomly. And then plus I have vision problems too, and you know, open mics they're always in this dark ass bar, and my eyes don't see very good in the dark, so. Then I also has this anxiety of like, oh, this person looks familiar, but I don't remember their name. Did I meet him before? You know what I mean? And then especially I have this weird, you know, I got like a stage name, Brane Damage, and people remember me more than I remember them. And I'm like, oh, fuck, that's really awkward. I'm an asshole. I don't even remember this person. There's been people I've met at open mics, and I'm like, hi, I'm Brane. And they're like, yeah, I met you like 3 times already. And I'm like, fuck, my bad, you know?
Oh, shit, yeah. Yeah, you're probably going to meet me and be like, bro, we did a fucking podcast. Hey.
After all these months, you start getting to know people, and now when you get there, they're like, hey, it is a community. You're like, I get what you're saying, because there are times where I'm like, fuck, I really don't want to go. I want to just stay home. I'm already parked. come on, fuck, I better go. And then, like you said, at the end of the night, I'm like, I'm glad I went. It's kind of like the gym. Like, you know, fuck, I want to go. And then afterwards, you're like, oh yeah, I'm glad I did.
So I think kind of like what we started off with, something like a bucket list. You know, I feel like I think it's normal to want to do stand up and just kind of have that idea in your head to do it once. I think that's completely normal, but I think a big percentage of the time after you do it that one time and you're doing it a lot of times, it could be like, maybe that's brain damage. Maybe that's a mental illness. And like, I just kind of see it like, yeah, dude, because once the fucking curtain gets pulled back and everything's unveiled and you kind of see the inner workings of everything, you kind of realize how ridiculous this shit is in a way. Like, making it or whatever, if you have goals, just seems even like, I feel like it just opens your eyes. Like, I'll just never look at something like that, like stand-up comedy, the same ever again after like just being exposed to a community a little bit. And it's like, man, there's gotta be nobody normal here. You know what I mean? Like, there's gotta be, and that's with things like AA, that's things with church, that's everything. I don't want people to feel offended. Like, I'm just talking specifically about the comedy community, but there is like something kind of in common mentally, at least, to make people, you know, be known around other comics. Like, oh, this is that guy, you know, this is Brane Damage. I wanted to ask, what's up with the name? Is that a bit? Like, man, yeah, I'll never forget that.
Yeah, so in the 90s, I was a tagger. We used to do graffiti. Me and my nephew, we used to watch this cartoon called Pinky and the Brain. My nephew was taller, lanky. I was a short, chubby dude. I was a little bit more street smart. He was a little goofy. And so that was our nickname, Pinky and the Brain, until we got a little older. And one day, it's like, y'all can't be calling me Pinky in front of these laws, what? And then so I was just the Brain. And then, so that's always been my nickname since 93, 94, something like that. I don't know, maybe a little later. I don't remember exactly. But so I just always kind of went with Brain. I don't really like my government name as much. And then and I was doing a podcast with a bunch of my homies about MMA a few years ago. We called it Cage Against the Machine. And, you know, I'm known as Brain, and I'm sitting here with 4 dudes with master's degrees, and fucking, these guys are intelligent human beings, right? And I'm named the Brain, right? So I'm like, yo, like, I have to add damage. I'm going to be Brain Damage. Fuck this. And then I did fuck up my head a little bit as a little kid. I used to fucking headbutt a brick wall, and so...
Holy shit.
I was like, it just all works. And, you know, so I'm just like, all right, let's just go with that. Fuck it. And I've had a couple comedians tell me, you should just go with your real name. And I'm just like, nah, fuck my real name. I don't like it. Like, I love my mom and dad, but, you know, they didn't know what we know now. And because my real name is Christopher. I was born on Columbus Day, and we're part Italian. So, you know, one of my pop's best friends was also a Christopher. So I never really liked my name. I just didn't. I like both my middle names better than my regular name, but I don't like going with it. So then... I was just like, fuck it, let me just go with that. And then once I started doing comedy, I was like, oh, that name fucking works. And honestly, when I first did it, I used it because since I was a tagger, I spelled brain wrong, obviously, Brane. And then when I spelled damage, I would put damn and then dash edge. And it just was called, like, people would not get it, and they'd be like, Brain damn edge. And I'm just like, all right, let me just fucking short it to damage, and then just call it a day.
Yeah, I think I have brain damage, too. I'm
pretty sure a lot of fucking people do, especially with now that we're realizing all these fucking toxic shit they feed us and all this,
And I still eat it. I'm about to have Pop-Tarts tomorrow morning. I don't give a shit.
I do not blame you. I mean, I haven't had a Pop-Tart in quite some time, but...
Missing out.
After dinner tonight, I did have 2 pieces of Halloween candy from my... Yeah, let me get that little Reese's Pieces in that Twix right there. Peanut butter cup. That's why when you said, let me go make peanut butter sandwich, I was like, I'm on it. Mine was chocolated instead of bread.
When I was a kid, I would always had it in my head, if I were to go to jail and had a life sentence, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'd kill myself for sure. And I was like, my method of killing myself would be just like running into the wall like as hard as I could, like with my head first. And
Damn.
I just thought, I mean, maybe if you commit hard enough, like commit as hard, like break through the board, you could really head bang really hard. And I just think most likely you just knock yourself out or something. But as I got older, I kind of realized, no, I don't think you'd be able to do that. And so I always just thought,
like really at an awkward angle and crack your neck somehow or something. But I don't think just blunt force trauma is gonna do it.
Have you ever been to jail?
No, just the drunk tanks.
Oh, okay.
Just the drunk tanks. I got arrested a few times when I was a kid, but
that's still an
not
experience.
actual. Yeah,
I feel like if I were to go to jail, if I were to like have a life sentence, I would kill myself through fighting. I would just fucking like, I mean, I'd have to be in a rage. I'd have to be like, I'm ready to die. But like where I'm at mentally right now, I think I'd live out the life sentence. As long as I was still able to do my podcast, probably. You never know, man. It might pick up.
Bars.
Yeah, and it might pick up. Might save up enough money to bail myself out or something. Who knows? But, yeah. But let's just say, I don't know, something horrible happened or something switched in my brain, and I was just like, I want to fucking die. I'd probably fight to death. I'd probably pick fights. I'd probably just look for someone to fucking kill me, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, but like that's still like you would have to like really get into beef with somebody because fights are just gonna be all right. Let's fight, and then
they probably put me in solitary confinement. Really, I probably get in one fight.
Fuck yourself up.
Especially if I started it, I'd start doing stand up. People get offended. I'd be like, the Jew stop tipping, and some fucking guy get all pissed off, and then I'll just knuckle up and just hope I would be entertainment. I'd just know that if people saw me, they'd be like, bro, that's suicide logs. That guy, he gotta watch out for suicide logs. He'll fight anybody if they kill him.
I got a suicide log for you.
Yeah, man. I'm a like come up to people, like people that are like way bigger than me, and just be like, hey man, give me your commissary, give me your lunch. I don't fucking know. I just had DJ No Chill on my podcast. I think he was my last guest, and he was telling me about how he was in jail and how he learned to sleep with his shoes on, because you never know if somebody's gonna try and like jump you at night while you're sleeping or something. You gotta keep the shoes on so you're not slipping and sliding while you're throwing them hands.
What?
Yeah.
Damn.
And like the way he like said it, he's like, and ever since that night, I never slept without my shoes on. And then he just continued talking, and I was like, hold on, brother, what is sleeping with your shoes on? And he was describing, yeah, and he explained it to me, and I don't know if you know who Big Al is. Big Al hit me up talking about, yeah, sleep with your shoes on. I was like,
nice.
Sleep with your shoes on, and then fuck, my brain damage is kicking in. I don't know. I was gonna say something about sleeping with your shoes on.
That he was explaining to you that he was like,
oh yeah,
explain to me why?
He was telling me about jail and shit, and I was just like, man, this shit sound kind of fun. But then I was like, hold on, I didn't even know about sleeping with your shoes on. Let me not get ahead of myself. I'm over here talking about, what are you doing hitting open mics?
Like you are the first person in my lifetime that I've ever heard say jail sounds like fun.
Wow. Yeah, sometimes I think about it. I just think about how in shape I'd get. I probably read books, like books with actual words in them too. Like I'd probably be a better person. I don't know. I'd be grateful as long as I got out, you know? Like if I did like 3 to 5 years, just get out, fucking, I'm taller, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. Think about that. See, I feel like sometimes people need that in their life. We're all so spoiled, you know? People's all look. I mean, I guess you're still looking at your phone in jail, but everybody, I don't know. I feel like, you know how they in like certain countries like South Korea, they got like mandatory military time that people got to do. They got that. They
Yeah, 4 years when
we
I
need
remember when Korean Zombie had to go do his time.
yes, sir.
Take that 4
Man,
years out of the
what
prime
a
of his career.
what a horrible retirement he had against Max Holloway, eh?
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
jeez.
And Max is my favorite fighter, but I love Zombie. I didn't that one and the Yair, that last second.
Oh man, he was winning that
uppercut.
fight
Oh,
too,
my
bro.
God.
He was winning that fight too. I don't Korean Zombie to me. I wouldn't say I like him. I don't dislike him, but he was never really that special to me. He just seemed really good at basics. Of course, he's got that twister and all that shit, but like, man, the boxing, like when he was beating Yair, I was really surprised. Like, I was like, damn, Korean Zombie's back. I guess he's a real deal. But then that elbow. It's weird how like MMA works. I was actually talking to my buddy about like the path your career can go over little things. Like he's saying John Fitch is one of the dark horses that never got to shine. He fucking he had a great record, but he just kept getting injured, and then I guess some lackluster fights and stuff. But man, I believe it because I remember John Fitch was hella good in UFC Undisputed 3, the fucking video game. I could never beat John Fitch. He was such a bitch to fight, and it's kind of like true in real life. I'd miss that game, dude. Fuck EA Sports. They're ruining it. How's it 2023, but a game that came out in 2012 better? You know?
Right.
I don't know if you're into the games, but fuck.
I do love games, but I haven't played those UFCs in quite some years because I just don't like EA's mechanics. Like
The boxing
I haven't
works.
played Madden in years because maybe against my son here and there, but like I haven't bought a Madden for myself, and I used to love that shit. But just I don't know. I feel like realism fucked video games up. They're like, oh, everything needs to be realism. I'm playing video games. I want an arcade style play. I want fantasy them. But anyways, I agree. Them UFC games from shit.
Oh, we went off the boat. Yeah, I gotta have you on one day. Like, we gotta do some kind of fight companion thing, or just talk about MMA. Because now we're getting kind of towards. We're at like 56 minutes, so we could wrap it up in a bit. But like, I'll keep that in mind. That another MMA guy. That's cool. It's cool that you did
definitely.
another MMA show.
I told my buddy when he first told me, get your coward ass out there and hit some open mics, and he was telling me about having goals and all that shit, and I was like, like I don't really want to become a real comedian just because I'm not trying to get booked on Saturdays because I want to watch the fights, but now that I'm like in the comedy game, I don't think I'd. If it's a good show, I'm not gonna turn down somebody booking me on a Saturday, depending on the fight. But like, I don't really go to the open mics unless they're like some weeks when they're in Abu Dhabi and the shit starts at 11 or something. It's like, but there's not really open mics on Saturdays anyways.
That actually happened to me. I did a show on a Saturday, and the whole time I was there, like right after I got off my set, I was just staring at my phone watching the fights, and like I felt like the comics might have thought it was rude. Maybe like we're still cool. They don't think too much. I think it was Jared was one of them. I'm cool with Jared, so I could mention him. But I remember like when I got home, he texted me and he was like, "How were the fights?" Like I was just like, "Yeah, I'm home, bro." And he was like, "How were the fights?" And I just remember I got off and I said, "But that's kind of what helped me not care about the show." Because I was like, I don't give a fuck. I know my jokes. Like I know my like whatever. You could say I'm not taking it serious, but it's like I feel confident in certain material to just like run through it, I guess. And then I had no anxiety at all because I was like, bro, I'm trying to see who was fighting that night. It was Alexa Grasso versus rematch Valentina. Yeah. And then I think I was like watching the co-main, and then another comic was just like, "Are you watching the fights?" And I was like, "Can I see?" So we're all just sitting here staring at my phone instead of people doing comedy.
Nice. Was it just go to like one of those sites, or you got the ESPN Plus on there?
Well, if the FBI's listening, I pay. I bought the pay-per-view. I'm in crippling debt.
I thought that was a fight night. My bad.
Yeah, it was pay-per-view. I bought actually, or maybe no, it was actually a fight night. I have Hulu. That's the package that I got. I've got a I pay for ESPN Plus, but I always think about canceling it because a lot of the time, sometimes I can't watch the fights because they're playing at a certain time, and I got work and shit. So I'm definitely overpaying, but whatever.
Yeah. Up to 10 a month a few months back, but I kind of regret it. I'm like, I should have fucking kept that shit because there's some times where that's my only option, and I'm like, fuck, and then I gotta try to fucking.
So, what did we learn today? I want to bring it back to, yeah, the like how Korean Zombie had mandatory military time. I feel like this country needs mandatory jail time, or like or some kind of job. Get a fucking. I don't care how rich you are. You need to fucking work for like.
Yeah.
2 years, and it could be fucking anywhere. But I feel like the way how society's set up, it's like, dude, you have to, regardless. Like, I mean, I guess if you're rich or something, sure. But that's the 1%. There's not too many of those, really. If you're really, like, breaking it down, there's not too many. Overall majority of people, I feel like, need to do something. And so there's that. And then... I was going to say something else. Oh, and I also think schools, you say you work in schools or something.
Yeah.
I think, they need like a mandatory kind of, I don't know if public speaking is the one. But it's just kind of unfortunate how some people kind of live their life. I mean, I'm not perfect. There's things that I'm afraid of. I got into it with my girl not too long ago because I couldn't climb all the way up a ladder. And she was all like, how can you do comedy or something like that and not be... I'm like, bitch, I'm afraid of heights. Okay, I am. That's it. I don't know how to... Some people are afraid of getting up in crowds, not me. Some people are afraid of heights. I am. That's what, like, hence why I brought up skydiving earlier. Who the fuck is dumbass fucking... If I were to ever fucking die, dude... if I were to ever die skydiving, I want my tombstone to say, I told you so. Because I know for fucking sure I'm not going skydiving because I'm like, oh yeah, let's have fun. I'm doing it because somebody called me a pussy into doing it.
That's hilarious. I feel you on that because I'm also scared of heights, and that's how I got coached. Like, thankfully my cousins teased me enough, but like I remember going to Great America and they were like, are you getting on this roller coaster with us? And it was the Top Gun. That's how old that was. And I was like, fuck nah. And they were, oh, bye. We're from Hawaii, so they got accent. Oh, bye, you get panties, bye, little girl. I was like, fuck you, I'm getting on. And then I was like, fuck now, look, roller coasters, right? Yeah, I'm not doing no skydiving. I'm with you on that scared of heights. I always tell my wife, that's how I believe in reincarnation. I'm like, there's no fucking way I didn't die falling off of a cliff or a building or something, and claustrophobia. Like, I must have fucking got crumbled in a mountain or something, in a cave or something, because I'm like, there's no fucking way that I'm this terrified of those two things for no apparent reason at all. I had to have died in a past life that way. That's just what I believe anyway.
Isn't things like arachnophobia and being scared of like snakes and shit kind of it's like from your ancestry or something? Like people in your past might have died from like a spider bite, and that's why you're so afraid of them. I went to PetSmart yesterday, and I was looking at the snakes, and like my whole life I've never really been afraid of snakes. And so I always think like maybe nobody in my lineage has died of snakes or something, but like I don't know. I feel it's hard for me to wrap my head around. Like I get it that you wouldn't want one biting you or something, but for some reason, like bruh, cobras aren't even in California. If a cobra were to, I'm in my garage right now. If a cobra were to fucking run through my garage right now, I'd be more like, who the fuck let a cobra in here? Like I don't think I'd be afraid. I'd be fascinated. I don't know, but yeah. I mean, I know rattlesnakes and shit. They just don't. Like some people like vision, like just looking at things. It's not pleasant to the eyes. Like some people have that phobia of like honeycombs, like bee combs. they hate that pattern. It's like a lot of my girl has that. There's a lot of people who like if honeycombs. It
I never knew that.
I'm gonna look it up. Fear of honeycombs. Let me see here. Fear of honeycomb. It's a real thing. Yeah, trypophobia is an aversion or repulsion to objects like honeycombs and sponges that have repetitive patterns or clusters of small holes. And I wonder where people get that. Maybe somebody had a fucking
that's bananas.
Yeah, maybe somebody had a fucking beehive fall on their head in the past. Like, let's see, what causes this? We're over here just learning things on the podcast. This is how my show does go sometimes. I just look at my bad. But nice. I did think about wrapping it up a little bit, but I remember you were saying you kind of had all time, so I'm just taking advantage of you and just.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm just sitting at the house doing nothing.
What causes trypophobia? Yeah. There's like some kind of skin shit that people get, and it's like, imagine having them. People are repulsed by you. They don't know why some people have it. One theory is that the brain associates clusters of holes with danger. For example, you may associate a small pattern of holes with the skin of a venomous snake or the eyes of a tarantula. Oh yeah, eyes of a tarantula is pretty gross. Yeah.
That's crazy. I guess the brain is just like so many differences in people. Some people's gonna have some weird shit, and other people's gonna be like, that's completely normal to me. Yeah. But I have this other weird shit.
Yeah. Some people are afraid of hitting a fucking open mic, yet they're the funniest fucker on the planet. I gotta, like what you were saying earlier about like how you want a friend to go out to do shows and stuff.
Yeah.
I have a friend in my personal life who I like. He's the only person who I extended the invite to. I was like, bro, you gotta try stand up. Like you're literally one of my funniest friends, and it's been like a year and a half, and he just like, I stopped asking him, and I already like announced like, yeah, I'm not gonna invite him over. It's on him, and he was just so like, I don't know. I was gassing him up too. I'm telling him, I was like, bro, I think you're funny. Like you could do it, and he's just like, I don't know, man. I'm just being a bitch. I'm so nervous or whatever. I'm like, bro, like, it's all right to bomb. Like, it's just like, it's a normal thing. He's like, come on, dude. We're talking about me. Am I really going to bomb? I'm like, then what the fuck you afraid of then if you're over here saying you ain't going to bomb then? Like, people right. Talk the fucking talk, but they won't walk the fucking walk, bro. Like, I don't know. But
yeah, it's crazy how certain people will just... they have it, but then they don't want to try. And then there's others that, like you said, they got all the confidence in the world, and then they're gonna go up there and mumble a couple of things like, what the fuck are they talking? I remember seeing one person at an open mic, and they just like say stuff, and I'm like, is that supposed to be a punchline? Are you just doing a TED talk? Like
TED talk.
But then, especially when I was new, I didn't understand. I'm like. And then I'd see certain people, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I'd see them at the open mic and be like, why am I seeing this person on posters all the time? And then you see them at a show, and you're like, oh, they're trying some new shit at the open mic. Like, I didn't understand all that when I first got started, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, shit. And I'm still new to where, like, I don't know, just like I'm still trying to learn all the protocols and all the different... Like you said, there's all the like I don't really care about the politics behind it, but you kind of got to learn the ropes if you're gonna try to figure out how to navigate it.
I just want to have fun, you know. Like you said, you know, being on a real show is fun, but I think I'm kind of at a surrendering point. Like, look, those people who really want to tooth and claw their way to the top want to do it. You know what? At that, so be it. Like, I'll try and have fun at the open mic. You know, like whatever. But.
Yeah. It's like a show's more fun because you have, like you said, civilians there, and they're more inclined to laugh at shit and have a good time than other comedians that just kind of want to work their material.
I got something out of this. I wrote that whole skydiving rant down that I just came up with because I think that's kind of funny, and you kind of gave me the approval. I just came up with that, but it's like it's really how I fucking feel, dude. Fuck skydiving, dude. That shit is so dumb. I don't know.
Right.
I just really gotta work on that and really nail how much I fucking hate that shit. But hey, it was nice meeting you, man. I appreciate you coming on, and you did so well that I don't pay people for coming on the podcast, but I do extend an invite for them to come again.
Right.
And, yeah, I'm down to talk MMA and stuff.
Definitely, I'm interested, and I appreciate you having me. It was pretty fun.
Yes, sir. I hope to meet you at a show one time.
Yeah,
Or
definitely.
maybe an open mic. But yeah, Mr. Brane Damage, is nice talking to you, and I wish you luck in your life, and I'll keep in touch, man. Thanks again for this shit almost didn't happen because I got a tattoo today. I just got done, and I checked my messages not too long before I left. And I'm not gonna lie, I'll be honest, I'm not gonna be fake. I completely fucking forgot about this. Completely forgot.
Oh, good.
And I was like, oh shit! But I'm glad we made it happen, man. And I'm glad you. I like your mindset. For those of you listening or whatever, I think Mr. Brane Damage has a good example, role model of the mentality that you need to have for good mental health. You feel like you got good mental health, right?
Yeah, definitely. My mental health has improved over the last few years, and it's definitely on its way.
That's what we learned. A lot of these comics admit to having mental health problems. There it is. The goal is to fucking just be there as a hobby and not trip. No goals at all. Just have fun. And your mental health. What do you want? You want to be at the top, or do you want to have good mental health? You could be both. You can be both. So, all right, man. You have a good night. Oh yeah,
quick,
yeah.
What did you get? What tattoo did you get? Like what?
I got the world famous Philippine eagle, and ironically, it is it's got in its claws a snake. Yeah, it's I'm Filipino, but I'm also American, so why not get a Philippine eagle? And I don't give a shit about snakes, so why not put the snake underneath it? So, I don't know. Why not?
Nice. Yeah, my nephews are tattoo artists. Similar, like you were saying about your homie, I've been trying to get them to come to the open mic. I keep saying, yeah, we're all going to go to the open mic. One night we even did like every few months, me and my nephews, we do Zoom battles where we get on and like we have categories of different music that we got to play, and like those old verses. And then one night I got them drunk enough where I was like, you guys are doing a 3-minute set each, and they were all three fucking hilarious. And I'm like, you guys gotta come with me, and they keep saying. So maybe one day your boy and my nephews, we're gonna drag them out by their fucking ears like we're grandma or something.
Nah, I gave up. He gotta come out himself. I ain't no bitch. I'm not gonna keep asking nobody.
No more invites.
Yeah. Nah, that's disrespectful for me. Like I'm not gonna just keep asking nobody. Who am I?
Right.
All right, then, man.
Right on, man.
It's nice meeting you.
Definitely, let's do some stuff on MMA at some point.
Yes, sir. Hit me up, man. I got you on Messenger.
All right.
All right. Good night, man. Take care. All right. We're out of here. Good night. See you later.